All right, strap in, everyone, because today we're taking a deep dive into a book that's both fascinating and a little bit dangerous, maybe.
Yeah.
It's called The 48 Laws of Power by Robert Greene.
Oh, yeah. Great book.
And we're going to be looking at some strategies that have been used throughout history by some of the greatest power players for navigating power dynamics.
Yeah.
Now, this isn't just about understanding power, though. This is about giving you some actual tools that you can use in your everyday life.
Absolutely.
Whether you're, looking for that promotion or trying to win an argument, or maybe even just protect yourself from being manipulated by somebody.
Definitely.
So are you ready to unlock some pretty potent secrets here?
Oh, I'm ready.
Okay.
Always ready.
So what's really interesting, I think, about the 48 Laws of Power is that Greene doesn't shy away from sort of the darker side of human nature.
He does not.
And he exposes some of those ruthless strategies that people have used to kind of rise to the top. Absolutely.
But he also shows how you can use those same tactics for good.
Right.
So it's really a question of, how you're going to use this information.
It is, yeah. You have a choice.
But let's jump into the first law.
Okay, let's do it.
It's never outshine the master.
Right.
And Greene has a great story about Nicolas Fouquet, who was the finance minister under King Louis XIV. And he threw a party so lavish, so extravagant.
Yes.
It actually landed him in prison.
Wow.
Now, you might think, okay, so I just shouldn't throw a better party than my boss.
You're right.
But this law goes a lot deeper than that, doesn't it?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Fouquet's downfall, it wasn't just about the party itself. It was really failing to understand the psychology of power. You know, Louis XIV, the Sun King, he needed to be the center of attention, like the undisputed source of brilliance.
Yeah.
So Fouquet's display, however well-intentioned it was, it threatened the king. It made him feel insecure.
And so the real takeaway here is that those in power, they're often driven by ego.
Yeah.
And this need for validation.
Right.
So if you want to kind of navigate these dynamics successfully, you need to learn how to make those in power feel secure, not threatened.
So it's not about, like, downplaying your own skills.
Right.
It's more about showcasing them in a way that elevates you as superior.
Yes, it's about finding ways to make their accomplishments shine brighter.
Right.
While still subtly demonstrating your own value.
Right.
It's like strategic flattery.
Right.
But with actions, not just words.
Okay, so show, don't tell.
Exactly.
Okay, let's move on to a law that I think might feel a little counterintuitive to some people, which is Law 2. Never put too much trust in friends. Learn how to use enemies.
Interesting.
And for this one, Greene uses the example of Michael III of the Byzantine Empire, who was betrayed and murdered by, his close friend, Basil. And this one, I mean, this is starting to get a little dark, right?
It is.
I mean, how can we apply this principle without becoming, some kind of Machiavellian, scheming, evil person?
Well, I think what this law is really about is recognizing the inherent complexities of human relationships.
Okay.
And understanding that even those closest to us, they can be driven by ambition, jealousy, insecurity, friendships, especially in high-stakes environments. They can be really fragile.
Right.
So it's important to maintain that healthy level of skepticism.
Yeah.
Be aware of the potential for betrayal and guard yourself accordingly.
Okay, so how does the using enemies part come into this?
Right.
Like, are we supposed to actually befriend our rivals?
Well, not necessarily befriend them.
Okay.
But you should recognize that even enemies can have strategic value.
Okay.
Think about it. You and your rival probably share some common goals.
Right.
Like maybe you both want to see your companies succeed or your industry thrive.
Right.
So by focusing on those shared interests, you can actually create opportunities for collaboration.
Right.
Even if it's just temporary or limited in scope.
Okay.
Sometimes working with somebody who challenges you can lead to breakthroughs you wouldn't have achieved on your own.
Okay, yeah, that's a really good point.
Right.
Okay, so this is where I think it gets really interesting.
Okay.
Which is Law 3, conceal your intentions.
Interesting.
And this one feels very relevant today, I think, in a world of social media where everybody's always broadcasting their every move, you know? But Greene shares the story of Ninon de l'Enclos, she's a 17th century French courtesan.
Yeah.
And she had this very elaborate seduction strategy.
Right.
But it backfired because the client revealed his feelings too soon.
Oh.
So is this law about just being deliberately deceptive?
I don't think so, no. It's more about strategic ambiguity. Think of it this way. If you reveal your end goal too early in a negotiation,
right,
or a relationship, or even a creative project,
yeah,
you give the other person the upper hand.
right.
It allows them to anticipate your moves,
Yeah.
and potentially undermine your efforts, or
Yeah.
even just lose interest.
Okay.
So by holding back some information,
Okay.
maintaining an air of mystery,
Right.
you keep people guessing, intrigued,
Mm-hmm.
and wanting to learn more.
So it's kind of about controlling the narrative a little bit.
Exactly.
Like revealing information strategically, not just putting it all out there at once.
Exactly. Think about a magician.
Okay.
They don't reveal how the trick is done until the very end.
Right.
The element of surprise is what makes it so captivating.
That's a great analogy.
Yeah.
Okay, now here's a law I think a lot of us could benefit from.
Okay.
Which is Law 4, always say less than necessary. Because this one makes me think of all the times that I've over-explained myself. Right. Or talked myself out of a good deal.
I've been there.
But Greene uses Louis XIV as an example of this.
Okay.
Noting that his calculated silence was a powerful tool.
Interesting.
So how can we apply this in a world that's like all about communication, self-expression,
Well, think of silence as a way to shift the power dynamic.
Okay.
When you speak less,
Yeah.
you force the other person to fill that void.
Right.
They reveal more about themselves, their intentions, their anxieties.
Right.
You get valuable information without even asking.
Oh, that's interesting.
Right.
Okay, so next time I'm in a negotiation, I should just channel my inner Louis XIV.
Right.
And just sit there and be quiet.
Well, it's not quite that simple.
Okay.
But it is about being observant, listening actively,
Right.
and speaking only when it's strategic to do so.
Right.
And when you do speak, make your words count.
Okay.
Powerful, concise,
memorable. All right, let's talk about something that's really relevant now.
Okay.
In the digital age, which is reputation.
Yeah.
And Law 5. So much depends on reputation. Guard it with your life.
Yeah.
And for this one, Greene tells the story of P.T. Barnum.
Oh, yeah.
Who was like the master showman, right?
Who was.
And he understood that perception is often reality.
Right.
So he would use all kinds of tactics, from spreading rumors to creating these elaborate spectacles to shape public opinion. But we can't all be P.T. Barnum, right?
Not all of us.
What are some practical ways that we can kind of manage our reputation in a world where information spreads so quickly?
Yeah, well, it's about being proactive, not just reactive.
Okay.
So think about what you want your reputation to be,
Right.
and then take consistent actions that align with that vision. Cultivate a strong online presence, engage with your audience authentically, and address any negative feedback or criticism swiftly and professionally.
Okay.
Your reputation is like a garden.
Okay.
It needs constant tending and nurturing.
Okay. Now, for a law that feels very Hollywood, Law 6. Court attention at all cost.
Interesting.
And for this one, Greene brings up Mata Hari, who is this exotic dancer who captivated all of Europe.
Yeah, fascinating woman.
But this isn't just about being flashy, right? Or attention grabbing.
No, it's about understanding the power of storytelling and self-presentation. Mata Hari crafted this really captivating persona. A story that drew people in. And whether you're an artist or an entrepreneur or even just navigating the social scene, you need to find ways to stand out.
Yeah.
Create a narrative that captures people's attention and makes them want to know more.
And this feels particularly relevant in a world that's so saturated with content.
It does. It does.
Right.
Yeah.
You need to kind of find a way to break through the noise.
You do.
So it's not about being loud or obnoxious. It's about being memorable.
Absolutely. Think about what makes you unique.
Okay.
What story you want to tell. And then find creative ways to share that with the world.
I like that.
Yeah.
Okay, this next law I have a feeling might ruffle a few feathers, which is Law 7. Get others to do the work for you, but always take the credit. And Greene talks about Nikola Tesla for this one, who was a brilliant inventor, but often overshadowed by people who were more business savvy. Like Thomas Edison. So was Tesla just naive?
Well,
or is there a way to kind of apply this principle ethically?
I think Tesla's story really highlights the importance of talent. And strategic thinking. While he was a genius in the lab, he didn't have those skills to promote his work or build those networks and alliances, that would make sure he got the recognition he deserved. So the takeaway here is not to steal credit or exploit others. It's to understand that success often requires collaboration, delegation. You can't do everything yourself. But you need to make sure your contributions are recognized. And that you're maintaining control over your vision.
So it's kind of finding that balance between leveraging other people's skills, but making sure you're getting credit for your own ideas and leadership.
Yes, it's about building a team, inspiring others to contribute their best, but also making sure that you're the captain of the ship.
Okay, I like that.
Yeah.
Okay, let's switch gears a little bit.
Okay.
With Law 8, make other people come toward. Use bait if necessary.
Interesting.
And Greene uses the example of Napoleon Bonaparte here, who was actually lured back into power by his enemies, only to ultimately be defeated. So this feels like a case of playing the long game.
It does, yeah. It's about understanding that sometimes the most effective way to achieve your goal is not to aggressively pursue them, but to create the right circumstances and let other people come to you. It takes patience, strategic thinking, and a deep understanding of your opponent's motivation.
So instead of chasing after opportunities, we should be creating the right conditions to attract them.
Exactly. Think about a fisherman.
Okay.
They don't chase after the fish. They cast their line and wait for the fish to bite.
That's a great analogy.
Right.
Okay, this next law, I think, is really relevant, especially for anybody who spends way too much time on social media, which is Law 9. Win through your actions, never through argument. And Greene tells a cool story about Michelangelo, who was dealing with this mayor who was criticizing the David's statue. And so Michelangelo cleverly just pretended to make the change that the mayor wanted.
Wow.
Thus proving his point without even saying a word.
Yeah, that's good.
So in a world where everybody's constantly debating online, arguing, is this even possible?
Well, I think actions are tangible. They speak for themselves. You know, arguments, on the other hand, can easily devolve into these ego clashes. And they rarely result in genuine persuasion.
Yeah, that's true.
So instead of wasting your energy on these fruitless debates, focus on proving your point through your actions, your accomplishments, your creations. Let your results speak louder than your words.
So showing, not telling.
Exactly.
All right, so now for a law that might be a little bit of a downer, but is probably important to remember, which is Law 10. Infection, avoid the unhappy and unlucky.
Interesting.
And for this one, Greene uses the example of Lola Montez, who is a courtesan whose toxic personality just kind of brought ruin to everybody who crossed her path.
Yikes.
So this is kind of a warning, right?
It is.
To be careful who we surround ourselves with.
Yeah, absolutely. It's about recognizing that negativity can be contagious. You know, we all know those people who just seem to attract drama and misfortune. While it's important to be compassionate and supportive, it's also crucial to protect your own energy and well-being. Surround yourself with people who uplift you, inspire you, not those who drain your energy and bring you down.
So it's kind of about setting healthy boundaries.
Exactly.
And recognizing that sometimes the kindest thing you can do for yourself is to just, you know, step away.
Absolutely. Protect your own mental and emotional well-being.
Yeah.
It's important.
Okay, here's a law that feels like the ultimate power move. Which is Law 11. Learn to keep people dependent on you. And the example Greene uses is Otto von Bismarck, who rose to power by making himself indispensable to these Prussian kings. So doesn't this sound a little bit manipulative, though?
Well, think of it less as manipulation and more as cultivating a unique set of skills or knowledge that makes you essential to other people's success. So be so good at what you do, so reliable, so insightful, that people naturally come to rely on you. Build a reputation for competence, trustworthiness, the ability to deliver results.
So become so valuable that people can't imagine succeeding without you.
Exactly. You become the go-to person, the problem solver, the one who always has the answers.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
And finally, for this part of our deep dive, let's look at Law 12. Use selective honesty and generosity
Interesting.
to disarm your victim.
Okay.
And for this one, Greene tells the story of Count Victor Lustig.
Right.
Now, this guy was a con man.
Okay.
And he actually tricked Al Capone by returning his money.
Oh, wow.
So wait, he conned Al Capone by being honest?
Well, it's about understanding that even the most hardened criminals can be disarmed.
Okay.
By a seemingly genuine act of kindness or honesty.
Okay.
You know, in a world where everyone's looking out for themselves,
Yeah.
a well-placed act of generosity can really lower people's defenses.
Okay.
And make them more susceptible to your influence.
But that feels a little sneaky, doesn't it?
It can be.
Yeah.
But it doesn't have to be.
Okay.
Think of it as a way to build trust and rapport.
Okay.
A well-timed act of generosity can create a sense of obligation,
Right.
making people more likely to reciprocate
Right.
or see you in a favorable light.
Okay.
But it is important to be genuine in your action.
Right.
If you're just using kindness as a tool to manipulate,
Right.
it's going to backfire.
So be strategic with your kindness.
Exactly.
But make sure it's authentic.
Absolutely. It's about understanding the power of human connection and using it to your advantage.
Right.
While also remaining true to your own values.
Okay, that's some great advice.
Yeah.
I think.
I think so.
I think we've covered a lot of ground already.
We have, yes.
And I'm excited to keep going.
Me too.
Through the rest of these laws.
Yeah, absolutely. Welcome back to our deep dive into the 48 Laws of Power.
Okay, I'm ready for more.
All right, so we left off talking about, generosity, honesty, some of the more maybe questionable laws.
Right.
But let's move on to Law 13.
Okay.
Which states, when asking for help, appeal to people's self-interest, never to their mercy or gratitude.
Okay, so this one sounds a little bit cynical.
It does.
Yeah.
Is Greene saying we're all just selfish?
Well, not necessarily selfish.
Okay.
But we are driven by our own needs and desires, right? Think about it. When you're asking someone for help, what's more likely to get you a positive response?
Right.
And appeal to their sympathy? Or an argument that demonstrates how helping you will benefit them as well? Yeah, I think most people would be more inclined to help if they see something in it for themselves.
Absolutely.
Right.
It's not about being manipulative. It's about framing your request in a way that aligns with the other person's goals and motivations.
Right.
Highlight those mutual benefits. Show how helping you actually serves their interests.
Right. So it's really win-win.
Exactly. Win-win scenarios are much more likely to get you a successful outcome.
Okay.
Let's move on to Law 14. Which is, this might raise some eyebrows, pose as a friend, work as a spy.
Ooh. Okay, that sounds a little sneaky.
It does, doesn't it?
Yeah. So is Greene saying we should all be spies?
Not exactly.
Okay.
It's not about doing anything illegal or unethical.
Okay.
It's about being observant, perceptive, gathering information strategically.
Okay.
Think of it as like doing your research, understanding your audience, knowing your competition.
Okay.
He used the example of the art dealer, Joseph Duveen, who used espionage. To really kind of get an edge on his competitors, he was a master at understanding his clients' tastes, their preferences, allowed him to tailor his offerings, and ultimately close deals.
Okay, so it's really about being informed,
Yeah.
understanding the needs and motivations of the people you're dealing with.
Precisely.
Okay, so now for Law 15, brace yourself.
Oh, boy.
Crush your enemy, totally.
Yeah.
So this is maybe the most controversial of all of Greene's laws.
It is a little intense.
He uses the example of Empress Wu of China, who ruthlessly eliminated all rivals on her path to power.
Yeah.
So is Greene actually advocating for violence and aggression here?
It's important to understand the context of this law.
Okay.
He's not advocating for unnecessary cruelty or aggression.
Okay.
What he's saying is that sometimes you have to take decisive action when you're facing these really dangerous adversaries who are threatening your survival.
Right.
It's a last resort.
Yeah.
Not a first option.
Okay, so it's like recognizing those rare situations where complete defeat of your opponent is necessary for your own safety and security.
Precisely, in most cases.
Right.
Diplomacy, negotiation, strategic alliances.
Yeah.
Much more effective and ethical approaches.
Okay, so let's maybe move on to
Let's do it.
something a little less intense.
Okay.
Law 16 is use absence to increase respect and honor.
Interesting.
This one sounds interesting.
It does, yeah.
What is that about?
Well, think about it this way.
Okay.
When you're constantly present, available,
Yeah.
your value kind of diminishes.
Okay.
But when you strategically withdraw,
Right.
it creates this sense of longing,
Okay.
intrigue.
Kind of like the saying, absence makes the heart grow fonder.
Exactly.
Okay.
By making yourself less accessible,
Right.
you pique people's curiosity.
Right.
And they desire your presence even more.
Okay.
And this applies to, personal relationships, professional settings, all sorts of things.
Okay, so how do you actually do this?
Right.
Without seeming like you're just aloof or disinterested?
Yeah, it's about finding the right balance.
Okay.
Be selectively present,
Right.
engage meaningfully when you do, and then gracefully withdraw.
Okay.
Leave people wanting more,
Okay.
and ultimately increase your perceived value.
Okay. I like it.
Yeah.
Okay. Law 17. Keep others in suspended terror. Cultivate an air of unpredictability.
Ooh.
This sounds like a recipe for anxiety.
Right.
Is he saying we should all just be erratic and unpredictable?
Not quite. I think while some level of unpredictability can keep people on their toes,
Right.
it's not about being, erratic or volatile.
Okay.
It's about being strategic, calculated
Okay.
in your actions.
Right.
Keep people guessing about your next move.
Okay.
And this can be really useful
Mm-hmm.
in negotiations or competitive environments.
Okay, so it's more of a tactic to be used sparingly, not like a personality trait to cultivate.
Yeah, right.
Okay.
Okay, let's move on to Law 18.
Okay.
Do not build fortresses to protect yourself. Isolation is dangerous.
Okay, so this seems to contradict the previous law a little bit.
Right.
Yeah.
Which was all about
A detachment.
a little bit of detachment.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not a contradiction,
Okay.
but a reminder that balance is key.
Okay.
So while strategic withdrawal can be powerful,
Right.
complete isolation can be detrimental.
Right.
Building walls might seem protective,
Mm-hmm.
but ultimately it cuts you off from valuable information, allies, opportunities.
Okay, so find that sweet spot between vulnerability and self-protection.
Precisely.
Okay.
Engage with the world,
Mm-hmm.
cultivate relationships,
Right.
but do it strategically, with discernment.
Right.
Recognize that true strength lies in connection,
Yeah.
not isolation.
Okay.
And Law 19 kind of echoes this sentiment.
Okay.
It says, know who you're dealing with. Do not offend the wrong person.
Okay, this one sounds like common sense.
It does.
But I'm guessing there's more to it than that.
Of course.
Right.
It's about understanding the social landscape
Mm-hmm.
and recognizing that not everyone is worth engaging with or trying to win over.
Right.
Some people are just too volatile, vindictive, unpredictable.
Right. You can't win them all.
Exactly. Choose your battles wisely.
Right.
Invest your time and energy
Mm.
in those relationships that are mutually beneficial.
Okay. So be selective
Yes.
with your interactions.
Be selective.
And recognize when it's just best to walk away.
Exactly.
Okay, Law 20 might sound a little radical.
All right, let's hear it.
Do not commit to anyone.
Mm.
That sounds lonely.
Yeah. Is Greene saying we should all be hermits?
Right.
Not at all.
Okay.
It's not about avoiding all commitments or
Right.
relationships.
Okay.
It's about maintaining a degree of autonomy, freedom of action.
Okay.
By avoiding unnecessary entanglements,
Right.
you retain your flexibility and ability to adapt.
Okay, so be strategic with your commitments and alliances.
Exactly.
Make sure they align with your own goals and priorities.
It's about staying in control of your own destiny.
Okay, Law 21. This one maybe sounds a little deceptive.
Okay, let's see.
Play a sucker to catch a sucker. Seem dumber than your mark.
Oh.
So this sounds like
yeah.
a classic con artist move.
It does, a little
Yeah,
bit.
is this just about being dishonest and manipulative?
Well, it can be,
Okay.
but it doesn't have to be.
Okay.
It's about strategic self-deprecation.
Okay.
By appearing less intelligent or capable than your target,
Hmm.
you lower their guard,
Right.
make them more susceptible to your influence.
So play on their ego a little bit.
Yeah, play on their ego, their desire to feel superior.
Okay, this sounds like it requires some finesse.
It does. You don't want to appear incompetent,
Right.
but you also don't want to intimidate or threaten.
Okay. Yeah, so this takes
Yeah,
some social intelligence, I think.
it does. It's about understanding the psychology of persuasion
Okay.
and using it to your advantage.
Yeah, okay.
So Law 22,
Yeah.
use the surrender tactic. Transform weakness into power.
Okay, that sounds counterintuitive.
It does, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
How can surrendering be powerful?
Right, exactly.
Well, think of it as strategic retreat.
Okay.
a way to conserve your energy, your resources for a more opportune moment.
Right.
There are times when surrendering or appearing to surrender can disarm your opponent.
Okay.
Give you time to regroup.
Okay.
And plan your next move.
So sometimes you got to lose the battle to win the war.
Exactly. Transform a perceived weakness into an advantage.
Okay.
Law 23. Concentrate your forces.
This sounds like a military strategy.
It does, a little bit.
So how does this apply to everyday life?
It's about focus and prioritization.
Okay.
Instead of spreading yourself thin, identify your key strengths.
Right.
And concentrate your efforts in those areas where you're most likely to succeed.
Quality over quantity.
Exactly. You can't be everything to everyone.
Right.
Identify your core competencies and really invest your time and energy in developing those to their fullest potential.
Okay.
And this applies to, your career, relationships, everything.
Know where to focus your attention.
Exactly.
For the greatest impact.
Yes. And now for a law that's all about social intelligence.
Okay.
Law 24. Play the perfect courtier.
This one sounds like it's about etiquette.
It does, right.
Yeah, just being polite and well-mannered.
It's more than just good manners.
Okay.
It's about understanding those subtle cues of power.
Okay.
Navigating those social dynamics. Knowing how to present yourself in a way that wins you favor, influence.
So be charming, diplomatic, but also be aware of the power dynamics at play.
Precisely. It's about building genuine connections while understanding the unspoken rules of social engagement. Law 25. Encouraging us to embrace change. It's recreate yourself.
This one sounds empowering.
It is, right?
What is that about?
It's about recognizing that you are not a fixed entity.
Okay.
You are constantly evolving. You have the power to shape your own identity.
Right.
Shed those old habits and beliefs.
Right.
And to continually reinvent yourself.
Yeah, so embrace growth and transformation.
Exactly. You are not limited by your past. Your past experiences or failures.
Right.
You have the power to create the future you desire.
This has been an incredible journey.
It has.
Through the world of power dynamics.
Absolutely.
I can't wait to hear.
Yeah.
What else Greene has to offer.
I know, me too.
All right, welcome back to the deep dive. We are wrapping up our exploration of Robert Greene's 48 Laws of Power.
I know, it's been a wild ride.
And my mind is officially blown, I gotta say.
It's a lot to take in.
So let's dive into these last few laws.
Okay, sounds good.
Which I think offer some really fascinating insights.
Yeah, definitely.
Into both gaining power and protecting yourself from those who might use it against you. So, Law 26. Keep your hands clean.
Oh, this is a good one.
What is this all about?
Well, it's about maintaining that spotless reputation.
Right.
Even when you're doing things.
Right.
It might be considered a little shady.
Okay.
Morally ambiguous. It's about using other people as pawns.
Okay.
To do your dirty work for you.
Okay.
While you remain untouchable.
So, like, being the puppet master.
Exactly. Pulling the strings from behind the scenes.
Okay, but isn't that risky?
It can be.
Yeah.
What happens if your pawns turn against you? That's the challenge, right? You have to choose your agents very carefully.
Okay.
Cultivate their loyalty. And always have a backup plan.
Okay.
And it's important to remember that this law should be applied strategically. Right. Not as a license to just manipulate people.
Okay, good point.
Yeah.
Okay, Law 27 is play on people's need to believe to create a cult-like following.
Ooh, interesting.
This one is pretty powerful.
It's tapping into that deep-seated desire for meaning and belonging.
Yeah, yeah.
So if you can create a compelling narrative, a vision that resonates with people's hopes and dreams, you can inspire some pretty fervent loyalty.
This makes me think of, like, charismatic leaders.
It does, right?
Throughout history.
Yeah.
For good or for bad.
Right.
They've used this.
They have.
This principle.
Yes.
It's powerful, but you got to be careful with it, right?
You do.
Okay. Law 28. Enter action with boldness.
I like this one.
Okay.
This is about the power of decisive action.
Okay.
Hesitation, timidity.
Right.
Those create doubt. Boldness, on the other hand, commands attention, inspires confidence.
So it's not about being reckless. It's about having the courage to act.
Exactly.
When others are hesitating.
Yes. Calculate your risks, of course.
Right.
But don't let fear paralyze you.
Okay.
Fortune favors the bold.
I like that.
Yeah. Law 29. Plan all the way to the end.
This is important.
What is this all about?
Well, it's about strategic thinking, foresight.
Okay.
Don't just focus on the immediate steps.
Right.
Think about the entire path to your goal.
Okay.
Anticipate those potential obstacles.
Right.
Have contingency plans in place.
Yeah, so like think several steps ahead.
Exactly, like a chess player.
Okay. Law 30. Make your accomplishments seem effortless. This one's interesting. What's this about?
Well, no matter how hard you worked,
Yeah.
make your successes look effortless. Natural.
But shouldn't we celebrate hard work?
There's a time and place for that.
Okay.
But when it comes to power,
Yeah.
effortlessness is key.
Okay.
It suggests a natural talent, ability.
So it's about controlling the narrative.
Exactly.
Presenting yourself as someone who just,
Yes.
achieves great things easily.
With ease, naturally.
Okay. Law 31. This one feels really relevant today.
Okay.
Control the options. Get others to play with the cards you deal.
What is that about?
Well, it's about framing choices
Okay.
in a way that benefits you.
Right.
So by limiting the options
Okay.
and presenting them in a strategic way, you can subtly influence people's decisions.
So it's like creating an illusion of choice.
In a way, yeah.
Oh, okay.
But it's important to do this ethically.
Right.
The goal isn't to deceive
Right.
or manipulate.
Okay.
It's to guide people toward a mutually beneficial outcome.
Okay. I like that.
Right.
Okay. Law 32. Play to people's fantasies.
Yeah.
What is this one about?
This is about understanding the power of desire,
Okay.
escapism.
Right.
We're all drawn to those stories
Right.
that offer us a break from reality.
Okay. Yeah. It makes me think of advertising, entertainment,
Exactly.
even politics.
It's all about tapping into those aspirations.
Right.
Fears, dreams.
Yeah. Yeah.
By understanding what people long for,
Mm-hmm.
you can create messages, products, experiences
Right.
that resonate on a really deep level.
Powerful stuff.
It is.
All right. Law 33. Discover each man's thumbscrew.
Ooh. Okay, getting a little dark again.
Yeah. This one sounds intense.
It is. It's about understanding people's weaknesses.
Okay.
Vulnerabilities.
Right.
Everyone has those pressure points, fears, desires that you can use to influence them.
This sounds a little manipulative, though.
It can be,
Yeah.
but it doesn't have to be.
Okay.
Knowing someone's vulnerabilities, it can be
Yeah.
used to help them,
Okay.
guide them toward positive change.
Right.
But it can also be used to exploit them.
Right.
So use this knowledge ethically,
Okay. Yeah.
responsibly.
Good advice.
Yeah.
Okay. Law 34. Be royal in your own fashion. Act like a king to be treated like one. So what's this all about?
Well, it's about projecting an aura of confidence and authority.
Okay.
People respond to those who carry themselves with dignity,
Right.
self-assurance.
So it's not about being arrogant.
No.
It's about believing in yourself.
Exactly. Own your worth. Command respect.
Okay. I like that.
Yeah.
Law 35. Master the art of timing.
Well, this is key.
What's this about?
Well, it's all about patience,
Okay.
strategic action.
Right.
There's a right time for everything.
Mm-hmm.
Acting too soon
Yeah.
could lead to failure.
Right.
Waiting too long,
Yeah.
you might miss an opportunity.
Right. So recognize that opportune moment.
Exactly. When preparation meets opportunity.
Yeah. Yeah.
That sweet spot.
Okay. Law 36. Disdain things you cannot have. Ignoring them is the best revenge.
Interesting.
What's that about?
Well, it's about letting go
Right.
of what you can't control.
Right.
Focusing your energy on what you can.
Okay.
So by ignoring the things that are beyond your reach, you reclaim your power.
So a lesson in acceptance
Yes.
and focus.
Absolutely.
Okay. Law 37. Create compelling spectacles.
Ooh, I like this one.
This one sounds fun.
It is. It's about using visuals, symbolism,
Okay.
to create a sense of awe and wonder. Grand gestures can solidify your position of power.
Makes me think of everything from elaborate ceremonies
Right.
to just the way products are marketed today.
Exactly. It's understanding the power of imagery
Right.
and using it strategically.
Okay. Law 38. Think as you like, but behave like others. Interesting. What's that about?
Well, it's about that balance between individuality
Okay.
and social conformity.
Right.
So it's okay to have your own beliefs, but expressing them too openly
Yeah.
can alienate people.
So be strategic
Yes.
with your self-expression.
Exactly. Pick your battles.
Okay. Law 39. Stir up waters to catch fish.
Ooh, okay.
This one sounds a little bit mischievous.
It does a little bit.
What's it about?
Well, it's about using chaos and disruption to your advantage.
Okay.
When things are unpredictable,
right,
it creates opportunities for those who are prepared to seize them.
So be adaptable.
Yes.
See opportunity in disruption.
Exactly.
Okay. Law 40. Despise the free lunch.
Okay. What's that all about? Well, understand that there's always a price to pay.
Okay.
Even for things that seem free.
Yeah.
There's always a hidden cost.
Right.
Whether it's obligation, compromise, something.
So nothing's truly free.
Right.
Be discerning.
Yes.
Law 41. Avoid stepping into a great man's shoes. What's this one about?
Well, don't try to imitate or replace those who came before you.
Right.
Forge your own path.
Okay.
Find your own unique contribution.
Don't live in the shadow of others.
Exactly.
Okay. Law 42. Strike the shepherd and the sheep will scatter. This one sounds
a little intense.
A little intense, yeah.
Yeah, it is. It's about identifying, neutralizing those key individuals who hold the power.
Okay.
So by removing the leader, you can dismantle an organization or a movement.
This feels a little ruthless.
It's a strategic principle.
Right.
Not a call to violence.
Right.
It's about understanding power structures.
Okay.
Law
43. Work on the hearts and minds of others.
This is important.
Okay.
This law emphasizes emotional intelligence.
Okay.
True power comes from winning people over.
Right.
Not just through force.
So inspire people, motivate them.
Exactly.
Okay.
Law 44. Disarm and infuriate with a mirror effect.
Okay, what's this about?
Well, this is about using reflection.
Okay.
To kind of expose people's flaws and manipulate their emotions.
Right.
So by mirroring their behavior, you can highlight their hypocrisy or amplify their insecurities.
Okay, so kind of a mind game.
It can be. Yeah.
Okay.
Law 45. Preach the need for change, but never reform too much at once.
This one's interesting.
Yeah, it's about that art of implementing change gradually.
Right.
People resist radical change.
Yeah.
So if you want to create lasting reforms, you got to do it incrementally.
So understand the psychology of change.
Exactly.
Okay, Law 46. Never appear too perfect.
Okay.
What's this about?
Well, appearing flawless
Right.
can breed envy, resentment.
Right.
It's good to show a little vulnerability.
So be relatable.
Exactly.
Law 47. Do not go past the mark you aimed for. In victory, learn when to stop.
Ooh. Okay.
So what's this one about?
It's about self-control.
Okay.
Knowing when to stop.
Right.
Don't let success go to your head.
Yeah, greed and ambition can be destructive.
They can.
Right?
Absolutely.
And finally, Law 48. Assume formlessness.
This is a good one to end on.
Okay, what's it about?
Well, it's about adaptability, fluidity.
Okay.
Be like water.
Okay.
Flow around obstacles. Adapt to those changing circumstances.
So embrace change. Be flexible.
Exactly.
Okay, wow, we've covered so much ground.
We have.
The 48 Laws of Power is a dense book, yeah.
Very thought-provoking.
It is.
It really makes you think.
It does.
About how you're navigating the world.
Yeah, so any final words of wisdom for our listeners as they kind of go out and face this complex world of power?
Well, these laws, they're a framework for understanding human behavior and the dynamics of power. So use them wisely, ethically, and with a deep awareness of the consequences. And remember, true power comes not just from influencing others, but also from mastering yourself.
That's a great point to end on.
Yeah.
Well, it's been a fascinating journey.
It has.
Through the world of emperors and courtesans.
I know so many interesting characters and stories.
And master strategists.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you so much for sharing your insights.
Of course, my pleasure.
And we hope you've all enjoyed this deep dive.
Yeah, thanks for listening.
Into the 48 Laws of Power.
Yeah. See you next time.
And that you'll use these insights to navigate your own path with wisdom, courage, and integrity.
Absolutely.
Thank you for listening.